Hey, we are here to interview Craig Ballantyne about fatherhood and time management. My name is Daniel Woodrum. I am the head coach at Effortless Discipline Coaching Program, and I am hijacking Craig's podcast today, and we're going to flip the script and interview him. So, Craig, are you ready to be on the hot seat?
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun, man.
Awesome. All right, Craig, we'll jump right into it. I know that you and Michelle had a beautiful baby girl about, 4 months ago now?
Yes, it's almost exactly 4 months. Yeah, it's going to be really fantastic.
4 months, yeah. So Isabella, beautiful girl there. And my first question, Craig, is what is the number one business lesson that you've learned from becoming a father?
Man, number one business lesson is just about how important the time is that you have for working, and that you've got to automate, delegate, and eliminate as much as possible. You've got to be able to bring on people. You got to be able to teach them and elevate them up to go and replicate yourself in the business, because you can't do it all on your own. And so it really comes down to that, something that you're really great at, which is leadership, and going and finding the people who can, take your skill set, your energy level, and your mission and your values, and then just replicate you in the sales department and the coaching department. Now, if you don't have a business like mine, then it's always going to be sales department. There's got to be people selling as you, and then delivering whatever it is, whether you deliver cupcakes or whether you deliver landscaping activities, whatever it is, people have to go out there and deliver the product at your level. So the biggest lesson is definitely, it's always been important to do that. But now when you have something, you have someone that you want to spend even more time with, and that was the same lesson that when I got married. Now I want to spend more time with Michelle. Now we have a baby. I want to spend more time with Isabella. And it means bring people in, giving them the training, giving them the environment in which they can flourish. And that's the emphasis has been there. And that has always been something I understood, but now it's even more vital.
Absolutely. It always comes down to communication, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have the CADE formula: communicate, automate, delegate, eliminate. You have to be able to communicate with your family and with your team. You have to automate every activity in the business that can be automated. There are certain things that can be because technology exists. There are certain things that can't be because they require human touch. But then you can delegate what is not your job. So you have to constantly be thinking, listen, I don't need to be doing this because I can hire someone who can do it better than me. So I'm going to delegate to that person. And then elimination is looking and going, man, when I was 25 years old and I had a ton of energy and I had all the time in the world, I could do all of these things. But now that I don't, I can't watch every YouTube. I can't subscribe to every podcast. I can't be on everybody's podcast. I can't do this. I can't go to every single event hoping that, I might meet somebody interesting. You got to be able to eliminate things. And when you do the CADE formula, consistently every quarter in your own business, no matter where you are with your family life, you'll get better.
Yeah, it's all about being Oprah, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being the Oprah, saying no and thinking, what the heck would Oprah do if she was running my business? She wouldn't be doing these $10 an hour tasks, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great advice there. Okay. So as a follow-up to that, Craig, especially a lot of our coaching clients or busy parents trying to balance family life and their career. What's the biggest time management mistake that you see people make trying to balance family and growing their careers?
So I would say is that they are holding on, doing it on themselves, right? They don't believe that somebody else can come along and do it as well as them. But Steve Jobs had a really great quote, which is, we don't hire great people to tell them what to do. We hire great people so they tell us what to do. And he understood that there were certain positions in his business that he found superstars who were better than him, like Johnny Ives, the guy who was the designer of the iPhone. And we need to have that same mentality going out there and understanding, listen, we're not that great at everything. And we need to be able to delegate the activities to other people. And if you think, well, oh my gosh, someone's not going to be able to do as good as me, well, then you have to give them real-time feedback. So we have 2 people that write emails to our email list that are not me, that write them better than me, because they would write an email and I would course correct them. I would look at them, I go through it line by line, give them feedback so that they didn't make the same mistakes again, and that they got better and they understood the messaging and the angles we were going for. And then over time, because they continued their own self-study outside of what I was teaching them, they became better email copywriters than us, and it helped our business. And it's the same with our sales team. They continue to, get feedback from me about, kind of the core values and the way we present things, but they're also out there studying and learning. And so they're getting better as salespeople. So they are better than me. And so we have a better sales team, better marketing team, better operations team, better coaching team than me, which allows the business to grow. And so it doesn't matter, again, whatever industry you're in, whether you're in construction or whether you're in manufacturing, whether you're in law, whether you're in accounting, you need to be going and finding these people, giving an environment in which they can flourish, and understanding that these 5 words will kill you. I will do it myself. If you say, I will do it myself, first of all, you're going to be super stressed. You're never going to have any time for your family, and your business is never going to grow, because if it all requires you only have a certain amount of time in a day, and you will get stuck. You will get stuck. And even worse than that is you will regress and you will be really stressed out. So never say, I will do it myself.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen it, Craig, for our coaching clients, right? We've been able to help them save them 10 to 15 hours a week within the first month, of going through some of our programs and systems, just because, like you said, they're following the automate, delegate, and eliminate formula and getting time back. And I always tell people too, is drop your ego. You're not that special. It's like you said, like everybody can do things just as well, if not better than you. So focus on that top 5% and stay in your zone of genius.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So let's transition a little bit, Craig. So back at our mastermind in May in Cancun, you talked about white space, and it was like this aha moment for a lot of us. And a lot of our attendees that were in the mastermind have gotten a lot of great benefits from this thing called white space. So what the heck is white space, and what are the benefits of white space?
Yeah. So white space is a time on your calendar where there are no obligations. So there are no obligations from other people, like calls, meetings, etc. There are no obligations from yourself. Like, this is not a time to go and do self-care. This is not a time to go and answer your email. This is not a time to check social media. It's not a break. White space is the time on your calendar where you're dedicated to thinking about your biggest problems in your business. And this is where you're going to solve those, or it's dedicated time for you to think about the opportunities that you could take advantage of in your business. There's a guy named Keith Cunningham who has done a lot of stuff with Tony Robbins, and Keith has a book called The Road Less Stupid. And in his book, Keith talks about how 3 times per week for an hour, he sits in a chair with his notepads and he goes through and he figures things out. And Richard Koch, a guy who wrote a book called the 80-20 principle, he sits out in front of a fish pond and he does this hard thinking. Now, everybody, it sounds like, oh my gosh, that sounds so cool. You're not doing anything. You're actually doing the hardest work in your business. It's the absolute hardest work in your business. And so again, this is not a self-care thing. This is not a goof off thing. This is where you make time to do the hardest work, the thinking in your business. And it's not manual labor, but it is mental labor. And that is what identifying white space is. And white space is the elimination of inputs. So most people, what they do is they walk around with an audiobook or a podcast or, some input into their head, and they never have their brain, in a quiet mode. They drive around, they're listening to audiobooks. So they go to the gym, they listen to things. And so you actually have to spend more time in silence. So you can actually do that. Even when I walk my dog, I never have any audiobooks or podcasts. I'm just thinking. And that's the white space, because everybody's life is too crowded with inputs. Their calendar is too crowded with inputs. Their brain is too crowded with audio inputs. And if you never have any break from the inputs, you're never able to assemble all of the previous inputs into a very important output, which is the conclusions that you come up with from thinking. So that is what we're looking for in the white space. And this is what's really going to set you free, because an hour or 2 spent in white space time is exponentially more effective for the future of your business than 10 hours spent in reactive time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think the biggest aha moment for me, Craig, was I always would take walks out in nature, but like you said, I'd always have my headphones in. I was listening to a podcast or audio, like thinking I was doing myself, a good, right? But it's like, I was just taking in more information and unable to actually just think and brainstorm on the bigger picture. So it's been a game changer for me, a lot of my coaching clients as well. And to me, the biggest takeaway here is create white space in your calendar. Craig, if somebody's like, all right, this sounds good in theory, but how can I schedule that? What's your number one recommendation for at least starting the process?
Well, I would look at where you are listening to things, right? Like we talked about the dog walk, we talked about the workout, we talked about the driving, all of these things. Just shut all that stuff off. So first of all, shut off all inputs. You've got enough information. You need to actually take that information and assemble it into the right decisions. You need less information. You need more decision making. So turn off all the audio inputs, first of all, and video inputs. And second of all, then just simply look at your calendar and go, where can I block off 3 times per week for 20 to 30 minutes? And that's it. And start there. You know, Sunday mornings are a good time. Saturday mornings are a good time. You're very creative in those times because you know that there's not going to be a lot of interruptions. So I would look to get a little bit of time there. If you're really reactive during the week, then the weekend's probably going to be your only spot. So doing that will be a great step in the right direction for you to start assembling the inputs into the correct big conclusion output.
Absolutely. And I think what you said, the mastermind too, about, you know, like you said, Friday or the weekend, is you can take in all this information throughout the week and then be able to take that white space, you know, later on the week or the weekend to be able to dissect it all and figure out how to move into action. So.
Yep. Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Great.
And, you know, the thing is on the weekends, they're different than the weekdays, because on the weekdays, we know that, you know, the poop is going to hit the fan eventually, you know, by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, when everybody's up and wants a piece of your time for work. But on, you know, Friday, even less so. Saturday, almost zero people are working. And so you're going to be able to sit there and think and not go, oh man, in 20 minutes, somebody's going to start calling me. That's the power of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Craig, I would like to go in a little bit of a rapid fire Q&A if you're good with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So what is the #1 place people should visit in Cancun?
Well, listen, if you're going to Cancun, you're pretty much going for the beach. I understand there are some other, you know, ruins and stuff that are a couple hours away from Cancun, but I've never visited them. But if you're going to Cancun, you're going there because the water is amazing. And, you know, it's that turquoise blue Caribbean water. You're going there because the beaches are amazing. So just, you know, if you're going there, go for the beach weekend. I'm also a big fan of, you know, spending an extra hour and a half and driving down to Tulum. It's just a remarkable kind of silly place, because it's like they took the Vegas Strip and they put it in the middle of the jungle on the beach. Like, you know, it's just all these high-end restaurants and resorts, but, you know, people have to sweat a lot walking between them. And it's just this one little strip of bumpy potholed road in the middle, not in the middle of something, but on the edge of the jungle beside the beach. And we really like it there. So we try and go there once every couple of months. So you're not coming here for museums, put it that way, but you are coming here for the beach, most likely. So enjoy it.
Yeah, actually, Britt and I, my wife and I, are going to Tulum in about a month for a wedding. So
yeah, it is something else. Where's the wedding and where are you staying?
Oh, so I'll have to ask Brittany. We're staying at some type of little hotel on the jungle side. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty fascinating and weird, and has a interesting vibe to it, I guess the kids would say.
Yeah, and one more question on Cancun. What's been the biggest surprise of living in Cancun? I guess it could be a positive or a negative.
It is pretty much Fort Lauderdale. Like, you've got Costco and Krispy Kreme and Starbucks and all that sort of stuff. They actually have a lot of restaurants, a lot of nice restaurants. And I don't just mean the one over, you know, there's like different parts of Cancun, right? There's Cancun and the strip of hotels on the beach, and there's a lot of nice restaurants over there. But they have, you know, where we had our mastermind is a place called Porto Cancun. And, you know, those restaurants wouldn't be out of place, you know, on South Beach. And then there's an area over near our residential complex where there's dozens upon dozens of restaurants, and, you know, they're all quite good. I mean, they would not be out of place in Miami. So the food scene here is pretty good. Other than that, there's a lot of bugs, and it's always hot and humid. It's too hot and too humid.
Yes, I experienced that in May. So, okay, how has fatherhood changed you personally?
I don't know. I would say that because I had such strong alignment, I had the core values of my life figured out. I knew what I wanted. You know, my vision was very clear. My wife's vision was very clear, and it was so overlapping of mine that, I mean, not a lot has really personally changed. I mean, maybe a you know, even deal with less fluff and that sort of stuff. But I don't think that there has been any huge shifts, because I've always been, you know, focused on building a family and spending my time with my family. And so there hasn't been a lot of change that way. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, listen, so you've obviously seen the 4 months, and, you know, I've showed up to all the team meetings and everything. Is there something that you notice that's different?
No, I mean, I don't think so. And I know people have asked like, oh, you must be not getting a lot of sleep, and, you know, kind of putting their problems on you, right? And you said, hey, like I've, you know, like you said,
Well, yeah,
you
we live in
haven't,
Mexico where help is so cheap
right.
that, you know, we have somebody stay overnight with the baby. So I've, you know, certainly haven't had that problem. Now there's, you know, when we do take care of the baby on our own over the weekend, yeah, it's like, it can be tough, but I don't think that's changed me personally. Now, how did you change personally? Because you were younger and
Yeah.
did the family more traditionally.
I've been
Was
much
there
more
anything that
selfless,
the
I
kid,
think.
what's that?
I've been much more selfless. I was a very selfish person just because I'm the only child, right? So I was always, you know, kind of want to do my own thing. And
Yeah.
I've realized that obviously it's not about me anymore, right? Like my kids and my wife come first. And so I think
I
just
would
being,
say that. I would say that's definitely, yeah,
yeah.
I've probably forgot to mention that. I would agree. That's a really good thing that you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what is, man, more people than ever are working from home. What is your number one tip for working from home?
Well, it's elimination, and, you know, we focus so much on discipline through subtraction, and you know, we're going to make videos about how it's not about adding more stuff, but it's actually eliminating stuff, and it could be eliminating stuff from your workspace. Like if you've got your phone and you've got books and magazines and the TV remote control and, you know, all these things sitting on your workspace within arm's reach. Well, when you're tempted to procrastinate, you're going to pick one of those things up, and you might be 10 pages into a book that you otherwise wouldn't read at any other time of day. You're just doing it because you're procrastinating. And so if you eliminate all of those things, if you eliminate the distractions and the toxic temptations, you actually become more productive and you get more things done, and you have way less of the distractions. So it's the removal of things. And so many people look to add more things, whether it's cold showers, whether it's 4 o'clock wake ups, whether it's, you know, long, hard workouts first thing in the morning, whether it's all these self-care habits and stuff like that. Like, you know, I was watching one of the videos we made for the Effortless Discipline Bootcamp, and, you know, this woman had oil pulling and, you know, staring into the sun, and, you know, she had like 12 things on her to-do list first thing in the morning. They're all ridiculous. Like, they're neither necessary nor sufficient for success. And so it is the ruthless elimination. So I guess the challenge to everybody listening to or watching this podcast is to just look at your daily to-do list of, you know, quote unquote self-care stuff and discipline stuff, and get rid of 3 things. Like, don't add more stuff, but actually get rid of 3 things, and it will open up time, you know, blocks of time, but it'll also free your mental computer from thinking, oh my gosh, I got to go and do this thing that you're always thinking about. So simplify and reduce and subtract, and you will actually be much more productive, especially if your life gets crazy busy.
Absolutely. Great tips there. All right, Craig. So what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned so far in 2022? We're right at the halfway point.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned so far in 2022?
Biggest lesson that I have learned, the focus, you know, the focus in our business of focusing on one path has really been starting to pay off. The focus on, you know, the one promise to the customer. And it's tempting to want to do a lot of different things when you're kind of good at a bunch of different things. But, you know, we went back to focus on what we are world class at, and we decided, hey, we're going to sacrifice all these other things and focus on delivering what we're world class at. And we are the absolute world's best at making people more disciplined, more productive, and less stressed through time management and habit change. And so we've been focusing there, and it's really been paying off. And so going back to the focus that, you know, you hear from Sabri Subi, you hear from Alex Ramosi, Dan Kennedy, Mark Ford, Joel Marion, all these, you know, Bedros Keuilian, all the people who I look up to mentors, they've always been saying it: focus, focus, focus on that one thing, and then scale on that thing. So go deep into your niche market and then expand from there.
Absolutely. Great advice there. All right. My last and most important question, Craig. This was a lot of fun. Can we do this again?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I like these short, rapid fire ones. I think we got a lot of value, and it gives us ideas for making future videos too. So yes, man, let's do it again.
Absolutely. And if Craig, and guys, if you want some questions that you want me to ask next time for Craig, put them in the comments, let us know, and we will ask Craig and get those answers for you.
Yeah, hit me up on, you can email your questions into at craig@craigballantyne.com. So we look forward to hearing from you. And, if anybody out there is struggling to kind of make sense of the whole get rid of stuff to become more productive, just grab our book, Perfect Week Formula, and you can get that for free at craigballantyne.com/free books. Absolutely free, no opt-in required, and you can get the audiobook and the ebook, but don't listen to the audiobook during your white space time.
Exactly. All right, Craig. Well, it was fun to be on this side of the table this time. I appreciate your time, and we will speak soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel.
All right. Thanks, Craig.